You might be saying, well, Jair Bolsonaro must be right in there, right? He must be right in there with the insurrectionists and the terrorists and the rioters saying, I support you and we're going to get this thing back. But that is absolutely not the case. Bolsonaro, and we're quoting the New York Times here, has been holed up thousands of miles away in the U.S. state of Florida. Before departing Brazil, the former president urged his supporters to avoid violence. Jack Nikas wrote this article for the Times. It was updated just a few hours ago. When his supporters stormed Brazil's Congress and presidential offices on Sunday to protest what they falsely claimed was a stolen election, Jair Bolsonaro was believed to be thousands of miles away. Facing various investigations from his time in office, Bolsonaro flew to Florida in late December with plans to stay for at least a month. He's been in Orlando, living in a rented house owned by a professional mixed martial arts fighter a few miles from Disney World. Bolsonaro has long questioned the reliability of Brazil's election systems without evidence, and he refused to concede unequivocally when he lost in October to President Lula, who took office on January 1. Yet, before departing for Florida in the final days of his presidency, Bolsonaro called on his supporters to avoid violence and suggested that they move on. We live in a democracy or we don't, he said. No one wants an adventure. Sunday evening, he criticized the protests, saying on Twitter, peaceful demonstrations are part of democracy, but destructions and invasions of public buildings like what occurred today were not. He also repudiated President Lula's comments that Bolsonaro bore some responsibility for the riots, saying that those accusations were without proof. There is some really, really wild video of Bolsonaro in Florida. It's Kafkaesque. I know it's for the first time in 2023, I'm pulling the term out. It is sort of Kafkaesque. Here is video of Bolsonaro in a Publix, just kind of like looking around. It's surreal almost, and he seems to have security with him. There he is, checking out the register. And it kind of looks like security is checking out for him, which is interesting. I mean, that seems like an interesting grocery store experience. You're just like, I'd like this. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right in the cart. And then they handle it so Bolsonaro can just look around. Just kind of pacing aimlessly in a Publix. Waves to the person filming. Wow. Did you know these granola bars have 4 grams of fiber per serving? This is stuff. We don't have these in Brazil. Just bizarre. And of course, the bigger questions here are about his legal status in the country. I'm not going to pretend to know the details of Bolsonaro's legal status in the country. There's a few different things that are possibilities, and I don't know that we necessarily know. Commenters in Brazil are saying Bolsonaro is in the U.S. on a diplomatic visa. Now, of course, the diplomatic visa is no longer valid in the sense that he entered on the diplomatic visa in December when he was still president. He's not currently president. Now, the question starts to be, is he overstaying the visa in a sense? Because he was on the diplomatic visa. He's no longer a diplomat. Does that make him an overstayer? It's doubtful that that's classified as an overstaying visa. Visas are usually valid for a certain period of time. And once that time elapses, it starts to become an overstay if the person hasn't left or renewed the visa or obtained a new visa or immigrated in some different way. We don't actually know how long Bolsonaro is really planning to stay. Now, there are people talking about criminal charges and what happens if Bolsonaro is criminally charged for something, and it's conceivable that that would happen. In that case, I would suggest a package deal. Extradite him with George Santos right back to Brazil, and let's make sure that the legal system does what it's supposed to do. But regardless, there's a lot of speculation as to the legal status and the immigration status. I assure you, the State Department is very much aware of Jair Bolsonaro being in Florida, how he got here, and how long he can stay. And I am sure it will all ultimately shake out. But the imagery, and I don't even know whether at KFC he was doing crispy strips of the bucket of chicken or what. That is reporting I would certainly like to learn more about, and whether he thought that the coleslaw had mayo, which apparently it doesn't. Apparently the coleslaw at KFC is completely vegan, much to the surprise of many. No answers to those questions, but just sort of hanging around while his supporters are rioting in support of him in Brazil. So bizarre and wild stuff. And we are going to talk after the break about the fingerprints that are all over this insurrection. And you might not be surprised to hear that many of those fingerprints are the fingerprints of people who worked in and around the Donald Trump White House. So that'll be after the break. Wednesday, January 11th, 2 days from now, is the first David Pakman Show Town Hall of 2023. Everyone is invited. Everyone can participate and talk to me. We will be handling the platform we will use for you to talk to me is Discord. You can find our Discord at davidpakman.com/Discord. If you are a website member, you will get priority access, meaning I'll take more calls from website members than non-members, but everyone is welcome and we're going to take calls from everybody. It will be, and I really want to be clear because people said, what's the date? What's the time? I'm telling you right now, okay? Write this down. Wednesday, January 11th at 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Pacific time. The event will stream, and to call, you go to davidpakman.com/Discord. We will take a quick break and continue with so much of the news from the weekend. There is something you use at home every day that is significantly harming the planet, and it is your toilet paper. 30 million trees are destroyed every year for toilet paper in the U.S. alone. Deforestation is a contributor to climate change, and I think moving away from tree-based toilet paper is something we can all do. And that's why I asked Real Paper to be our sponsor. Real Paper is a toilet paper made 100% from bamboo stalks, which grow forever. So no cutting down trees. And all of Real Paper's packaging is plastic free. Think of all those big plastic bags you've thrown out over the years. Real Paper is a B Corp certified by the Forest Stewardship Council. And Real Paper plants one tree with every purchase you make. And the best part is you can do a part to fight climate change without making any sacrifice, because Real Paper is soft and fluffy and durable, just like traditional toilet paper you're used to. Guys, this is a no-brainer for anyone who cares about the issue of deforestation. Give Real Paper a try. Go to realpaper.com/Pakman and use the code Pakman for 30% off your first order, plus free shipping. The link is down below.